Two people work in the same office. Both turn 50 this year. Both earn decent money, and both want the same thing. A normal, comfortable-ish retirement. A small car. A holiday somewhere warm once a year. The odd meal out without checking the bank app first. One of them pays £375 a month for that future, and always has. The other just asked what it would cost to start now, and the answer came back. £1,600 a month. Same office. Same salary. Same retirement. One of them pays 4 times the price. Nobody scammed anybody. The only difference between them is a date. The year they started. Because retirement in this country is sold off a price list almost nobody has ever seen, where the exact same product quietly quadruples while you wait. So let's put the whole menu on the table. What the 3 versions of retirement actually buy you, what each one costs from every starting age, and 2 facts near the end that, I promise, are the most genuinely cheering numbers in this entire series. First, the usual deal. Guess your number. What do you reckon a decent retirement costs per month from your age? Hold it. Before prices, let's be clear what's on the menu, because retirement is 3 completely different lives, and almost nobody says so out loud. Researchers ask the British public to price them, line by line every year. The minimum retirement, about £14,000 a year. It's warm, it's fed, there's a small social life. There is also no car. Eating out is once a month. The holiday is 1 week in Britain. The moderate retirement, about £33,000 a year. Now there's a small car, replaced when it dies. Eating out is once a week. The holiday is a fortnight in the Mediterranean, plus a weekend away. And the comfortable retirement, £45,000, is the moderate one with better margins. 3 UK breaks, a bigger food budget, some money for the grandkids. Look at the gap between minimum and moderate, because that gap is the whole game. The car, the med, the weekly meal out. That's the standard of living most working people quietly assume is coming to them. Right now, on the official modelling, only 23% of working Britain is on track for it. 3/4 of the country is currently heading somewhere below the holidays in a car line. And the state pension? £12,500 a year. Hold that against the minimum's 14. The state gets you 90% of the way to the no car, 1 holiday life, and not an inch further. Everything above that line, you're buying yourself. So what does the moderate life cost? Here's where I have to show my workings, because no official body publishes this next number, so we did the maths, and you can check it. To top up a full state pension to 33 grand a year, using the standard rule of thumb where you draw about 4% of a pot each year, you need a pot of roughly £500,000. I'll say it again, calmly, £500,000. And that's before tax, because pension income gets taxed like a wage, so the true number is a bit higher still. Now, before that figure flattens you into the sofa, here's the thing about it. Nobody buys a £500,000 pot. You grow one. Most of it, if you start early enough, isn't even your money. And that is exactly what the menu shows. Here it is. The same £500,000 pot, by the age you start, at a middle-of-the-road growth assumption, about 4% a year above inflation, which sits between what the regulator makes firms project and what shares have actually returned over a century. Start at 25, £375 a month. And because pension contributions get tax relief, that only leaves your bank account as 300. Wait until 35, and the price is 623. At 45, 1126. At 50, 1600. And honestly a little more, because if you're 50 now, your state pension age is 67, and the runway is even shorter. Read the shape of that menu. Waiting from 25 to 35 costs you an extra £248 a month, every month, for the rest of your working life. Waiting from 25 to 45 exactly triples the price. And here's the line that should be carved above every payroll department in Britain. The 25-year-old hands over about £193,000 of their own money to build that pot. The 50-year-old hands over £347,000. For the same pot, the young one buys a retirement and the market pays for most of it themselves. One honesty note before we move on. That 4% growth is an assumption, not a promise. Run the same menu on a rougher future and the 25-year-old's price is nearer 500. Run it on a kinder one and it's under 3. Projections are weather forecasts, not train timetables. The shape of the menu though, the tripling, that survives every version. Now you might be sitting there thinking, hang on, I already have a pension. Work sorts it. It comes out before I even see it. So let's test the default. Auto-enrolment, the standard 8% of a slice of your salary, 3 from your employer, 5 from you. Running from age 25 on a middle salary, builds about £294,000 by 68. Against the £500,000 target, the default gets you 58% of the way. Started at 35 instead? 35% of the way. The default was built to be a flaw, and it behaves like one. But inside it, hides the single best deal you will ever be offered. That 3% from your employer, on its own, compounds to about £110,000. 6 figures of someone else's money, and the only entry requirement is not opting out. And if you want to close the gap the default leaves, the lever is smaller than you think. Every extra 1% of salary you add from age 30 is worth about £34,000 in the pot, which is about £1,300 a year of retirement income, forever. The cost of that 1%, after tax relief? About £6 a week. The gap between the retirement you're heading for and the one you're assuming isn't a second job, it's a takeaway. So that's the menu and the machine. Where is everyone actually standing? The official survey says the typical pension pot for someone in their late 30s or early 40s is somewhere between £20,000 and £30,000. Late 40s to mid 50s, 30 to 50. Sit that against the £500,000. The typical person 20 years from retirement holds less than a tenth of the moderate life pot. If that line just described you, do not turn this off, because the next 2 facts are the cheering ones I promised, and the first one is specifically yours. Fact 1. Starting late works. Not perfectly, but powerfully. At 45, with nothing saved, the math says your retirement is the state pension, 90% of the minimum basket, below the floor, forever. Now add £200 a month, which after tax relief costs you £160. By 68 that clears the minimum line completely, with breathing room. Make it £500 a month, and you're 2/3 of the way from the floor to the full moderate life, the car and the med within reach. Starting at 45 doesn't buy back your 20s, nothing does. But it buys back the floor, and most of the middle, for the price of a car payment. The worst outcome on the whole menu isn't starting late, it's concluding that late means never, and buying nothing at all. Fact 2, and this one changes the whole target. Everything so far priced retirement for one person, but the standards for a couple are not double the single ones, because 2 people share 1 boiler, 1 council tax bill, 1 kettle. A couple's minimum is £22,500, and 2 full state pensions come to £25,000. Read those again. A couple that reaches state pension age with 2 full national insurance records and not 1 penny of private savings clears the minimum standard, with £2,500 a year to spare. The system, almost by accident, is built for 2, and it carries up the menu. The couple's moderate life needs about £250,000 of pot each, half the single person's mountain. Last episode, we said the family number is a formation, not a salary. Retirement is the same and more so. 2 ordinary pensions beat 1 heroic one. 1 asterisk on all of it, and it's the one this series keeps arriving at from every direction. Every one of these baskets assumes your home is paid for. No rent, no mortgage, that's baked into every number. Rent privately in retirement instead, and the pot you need just to reach the minimum goes from about £34,000 to £200,000 outside London, to nearly £500,000 in it. A London renter needs the moderate life pot just to afford the no-car life, which is why the machine from the renting episode, the one that force marches you toward owning something outright, isn't really a housing decision, it's a retirement decision wearing a housing costume. So, 3 things to check this week, 10 minutes total. 1. Find your row on the menu, your age, your price, and remember the tax relief discount. The 25-year-old's £375 is really £300. 2. Find out what's actually going in. Not what you think, the real number, yours plus your employer's, off the payslip. Most people have never once checked, and the survey says 4 in 10 contributors don't know what they pay. The distance between that number and your menu row is the most important gap in your financial life. 3. If you decide to close some of it, remember the £6 a week lever, remember the employer matches free money with no catch, and if you earn anywhere near the 60 or 100 grand tax lines, go watch the tax ladder episode after this, because for you, pension contributions pull 2 levers at once. 1 footnote so nobody's surprised in 30 years. The state pension age in these numbers is 68, 67 if you're 50 now, and there's a government review running, so treat the far end as movable. Back to the office, and the 2 50-year-olds. The one paying £375 isn't smarter, isn't richer, and honestly barely remembers deciding. A form got signed at 25 and a machine did the rest, which, if you've watched this series, is becoming the theme of everything. The one quoted £1,600 isn't being punished. They're just being shown, for the first time, the real price of the years nobody itemized, because the most expensive thing most people in this country will ever buy isn't their house. It's the decade they waited. And the cheapest thing they'll ever buy is the 1% they added in their 30s without really noticing. The 10 grand video shows you how to start the machine from nothing. The tax ladder shows you what each contribution saves you today. The menu's on the table. The prices only move one way.